Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Porter County Perspective. This week we have the esteemed privilege to have members of the South Shore Roller Derby team in the studio. I'm WDSO's news staff member, Max Good. Thanks so much for coming today. I know practically nothing about roller derby other than it's awesome, so I'm excited to learn more.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Can you tell us your names, your derby name, and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Ellen. My derby name is El Capitan, and I am president for the South Shore Roller Derby.
My name is Amanda Senesi. My derby name is Wits End. I am a skating official and sometimes not skating official for South Shore Roller Derby.
I'm Tria Colon, or Tragic Clown. I am captain of the Boxcar Bruisers, and I'm new to the team, but I've been playing roller derby for about 3 years.
I'm Nina Reinhardt. I go by Penny Punisher, and this is my 3rd year with South Shore.
All right. So, did you skate or play another sport before starting derby?
I love that question because I find that so many people hadn't done any sort of skating before joining roller derby, and a lot of us have some sort of athletic background or just needed the athletic way to spend our time, so we don't keep all the rage bottled up inside.
Yes. The only skating I had done previous to roller derby was skating at Our Way, now called Skate World in Portage, on the kiddie rink. There's a teeny tiny little kiddie rink, and that was the extent of my skating.
That's incredible.
I was that kid in gym class where if you threw the ball at me, I was going to flinch away from it and put my hands up and get all scared. And then I joined the military, and I feel like that kind of empowered me to try something new. So then I tried roller derby, and since then, I kind of see myself more as an athlete. I tried rugby. That wasn't really the same type of skill set, but I love doing derby.
I used to skate back in high school with my friends, and we'd go 3-4 times a week. But I was never really good at it. But I joined derby because I just feel like it suits me, and that's all.
So, how long have you been on the team, and what made you want to try it out?
I'll go first again. I've been skating with South Shore since 2016. I was skating with the team out of Nevada before that for a few years. And what made me want to join, you'll love this. I graduated college and I got a job somewhere where I didn't know anyone. And I was like, how does anyone even make friends? So I found a call out for the team out there, and I was like, that would be cool. We've all seen Whip It or watched it on TV. Wow, what a fun counterculture thing to be a part of. So I went and I joined, and I haven't stopped since.
So I was originally part of derby coming back to the region almost 12 years ago when Region Rat Rollers came in. I was a founding member of that league. And
so cool. Yeah, I didn't even know that about you.
Oh my gosh.
I learned so much about you today.
Thanks. So I've been doing that since, 2011, 2012 when Region Rats came around. And all iterations until we got to South Shore Roller Derby.
I kind of joined roller derby on accident. I saw something about, I saw a yard sign that said follow us on Facebook. And I followed my old team. And I thought that I was just going to this, it was called roller derby boot camp. And I thought it was come hang out with the team and see what we do and cosplay as one of us. And then it really was hey, if you keep showing up, there's no tryout. There's no if you're good enough or if you're cool enough. It was just keep showing up and we'll teach you how to skate. So, and then I recently joined this team because I moved, so it's just closer.
I've been playing since about 2015, and I'm originally from Illinois, and my original team, my husband actually knew a girl on that team, and he said, hey, since you like roller skating, why don't you join roller derby? So I said, okay, I'll go check it out. I checked it out, and I was hooked ever since. Then when we moved from Illinois to Indiana, I thought I was going to retire. But my feet wouldn't let me. So my husband, again, knew somebody on the team with South Shore. We got in touch. I went to call-outs, and I've been with the team ever since.
Love that. And I think what's really neat is that Well, now that's 3 out of the 4 of us started somewhere else and found it where it's kind of a cool club that you're in that you don't know that you're in everywhere. So it's easy to find people to hang out with, a literal team to join. And we get people that message us a lot that are passing through or they're on a work trip and they're like, hey, can I stop in and practice?
Yeah.
And we're always there for it. So that's really neat.
And my other team was kind of close. So I already knew, like I knew you before because we would just have skaters kind of network. So it's a really interesting community.
So how did you guys choose your derby name?
Like, how did we pick our derby name?
Yeah.
Well, my derby name comes from Big Bang Theory, Penny, and then there's Penny and Leonard. Paul is my Leonard, and I'm the Penny.
Aww.
So he has the brains, and I have the cute personality, so it works out.
I didn't know that about you either. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Tragic Clown is a Sims character. A lot of people don't know that there's characters in The Sims, but Sims actually has like some pretty deep lore. And it's also, it kind of sounds like my regular name, Tria Cologne, Tragic Clown. And then I also do stand-up and have studied comedy, so I feel like a sad clown.
I cannot even like grasp how much I'm learning about everyone right now. It's like really sending me through the roof. Surprise me again, Amanda.
So,
Let's go.
I actually recently changed my derby name. Way back when I started, I wanted a cute, like, sassy name. And since I'm tall, I said Mandy Longlegs, like a daddy longleg spider. But because I'm often at wit's end, that is now my derby name.
Such a good one. Such a good one. You are still on my phone as Mandy Longlegs, though.
Oh, okay.
And then my actual real name is Ellen Capitan. And so it was a really natural name to just be El Capitan, like the mountain. So I thought that was cool. People would be like, that's cool. Did your parents name you after? No.
And you were the team captain when I met you. So I was like, oh my God, it just fits so well.
Well, I named my son. No. But so
you manifested.
Right. Yeah, I manifested that. So that's very good.
All right. So what position does each of you play, and can you explain what the position does?
Sure. I play everything. I'll say that. But there are 3 like basic positions on the track. You've got your jammer. That's your point scorer. They've got a star in their helmet. So there's 1 per team. And then 4 blockers per team. And then out of those 4 blockers, 1 wears a pivot helmet cover, which represents kind of like who's the leader on the track, but also their important job is they can actually take the helmet cover from the jammer. So the way that the game kind of works is jammers are scoring points while blockers are trying to get you to not score points, right? So it's like at the same time offense and defense for the whole game, which is exciting. So you can imagine the jammer trying to get through 4 other blockers. Sometimes when it's not working, you just like want to take the cover off and then you pass it, and then hopefully your pivot still likes you after you do that.
And doesn't forget.
Yeah, you're like, but you're the pivot. So yeah, being a jammer is fun because you like are going right into the kind of like the scene of the crime, right? You're like going into this group of people, trying to wiggle through or bust through. And then you get kind of that, it feels like glory when you come out of the pack and you're like, I did it. But then you just get right back around. You're like, I'm going back in. So that's really fun. Blocking is also great because you get in everyone's way. You can take people out. You can
hit.
Yeah, you hit people.
You can take your aggression out on other people and not get in trouble for it.
Exactly.
Legally. Thank you. So as a skating official, my job is the most important job.
It is really important.
Well, actually, all officials, because we really can't play the game without us. So I'm just going to sit right here and be so there are different, like within the officiating, there are non-skating officials and skating officials. The non-skating officials are crucial to the game running. They run penalties, they track penalties, they do our scorekeeping. They keep the game moving.
Timing.
They're the ones who start and stop jams. They're the ones who hold for timeouts. They are amazing, and they truly keep everything running. And then skating officials, which I am, and I'm often, is called an OPR, which is an outside pack ref. So you have 4 positions within the track, and then 3 positions on the outside of the track. It takes 7 skating officials to kind of keep track of everything going on at one time. 2 people are dedicated to the jammers. 2 people are dedicated to watching all of the inside penalties and what is called like pack definition to make sure people are where they're supposed to be. And then the outside referees, we are confirming what people see on the inside and calling things that we see from the outside. So yeah, there's always a lot going on.
I think what I want to say about that is we get questions a lot of like, oh, so you're out there like clotheslining people? And I'm like, well, hopefully not, because you aren't supposed to do that. And if you do something illegal, Wits End will see you, and then you gotta scoot yourself over to the penalty box. So there's a lot of rules, and sometimes we'll also get kind of the follow-up that are like, well, oh, like rules are no fun. I'm like, well, actually, I really enjoy not taking an elbow like to the face.
Yeah.
I enjoy not being tripped. So I have to agree. I'm a big fan of the rules.
Well,
and quote me on that.
Well, so ultimately, like officiating and all skaters, our job is to make sure the game is played as safely as possible and as fairly as possible. And when you're getting called on a penalty, I know skaters don't see it that way, but
yeah, when you're calling me out specifically, me.
Yeah. But it's really, I'm just going to sit right here on my high horse.
You can stay. I mean, I wish the horse was even higher, because like that job is so important and thankless, and like I'm assuming really stressful watching everyone all at the same time.
Yeah.
It is so I always joke every time when somebody gets a little grumpy with calls, I want them to join us, and then they will know it's human popcorn.
Yeah, right.
You're trying to look for the one burnt kernel and that just didn't, or the one unpopped kernel, and you're just like, it's just arms and legs and
a helmet,
helmet, just all mushed together. So
that's so funny.
So yes.
I like to pivot because that's the only position where you do both throughout the game. I kind of never knew like what I wanted to be or what I thought I was good at. So I was like, well, why don't I just learn both? And then eventually I just kind of stuck with that. So
that's awesome.
When I first started SSRD, I jammed, and then I went to blocker, but I really like pivot as well because you can do both, and it's just fun.
Yeah, if you're undecided, it's sort of like the middle ground. Just train both positions and then see.
You're like the backup jammer.
Yeah. So it's not as much pressure.
Yeah.
But you still get like your glory moments.
Because when they say, hey, do you want to go jam? You're like, okay, I will do it. So.
Yeah.
I was going to say, from the outside of it, when you learn all the positions, you are such a versatile skater and player that you really... And so learning jamming in the pivot position, it's really...
Yeah.
I'm thumbs upping.
Yeah, it's 2 thumbs up. It's 2 thumbs up from Wits End over here.
So, are there any positions in the game that aren't here today?
No, they're all covered.
Other than the non-skating officials, like we don't, but yeah.
So, what kind of people do you think would really thrive on a roller derby team?
Everybody.
And anyone.
Yes.
And I cannot stress this enough. Literally anyone. So,
my teenagers even tried roller juniors at one point.
That's awesome. I think it's so much, and Trey, you said this earlier, was about empowerment. And I think this sport is so cool because it takes people from wherever your background is, like freshly graduated, or, a mom who's ready to be out of the house on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right. And so it's such a unique opportunity to meet people and be part of something bigger. So, yeah, I will say forever and ever and ever. Like, it is for anyone, if you're tall or short, or if you were an athlete or you weren't an athlete. Yeah, whatever you've done.
Yes, all
We
body
need-
types,
Yep.
all different athletic backgrounds.
Yep.
But I also feel like it's a very alternative sport. Like our uniform is kind of just like your jersey, your gear, and then whatever else you want to wear, however else you want to express
Oh, yeah.
yourself. That's a really big part of it.
Right.
That's true. We have a whole, like, bout makeup culture.
Yeah, there's
Just-
like Facebook pages dedicated to makeup inspiration and different things that you could wear, the fishnets or socks and just really funky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any pre or post game rituals?
I really don't.
Like, trying not to think about it.
Yeah, I always like to get like a nice team photo, but other than that,
I will re-go over hand signals. So as a skating official, we have to, when we call a penalty, we have to give hand signals, and I like to confuse them, which then confuses the non-skating officials who have to track
Oh, no.
everything.
I'm
I-
imagining you, like, we'll bring it back to Sims, like you're the Sim in the mirror,
Yeah.
like, getting
But
your
I do.
charisma
Practicing
points.
But I do. Do I look cool when I'm doing a
Yeah,
shortcut?
you get tons of points for that. Nina, do you have any?
I usually eat like a light breakfast, maybe some eggs and toast. And then I tell my family to leave me alone for about a good half hour.
that's important.
And then on the way to the game, I literally will blast my car radio to 80s, like heavy, not heavy metal, but like Motley Crue type music.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I just jam out and sing along. And I don't care that I look like a fool because it's all about having fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, because I'm getting ready to kick some butt, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
listen to my pop music as loud as I want.
Is there anything that you do individually to mentally prepare yourself for a bout?
Again, don't think about it.
Don't
Yeah.
think about it.
The only thing is that I have to set a lot of time aside to like play with my makeup because I'll go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to do this kind of look. And then I'm just like, can't make it work out. So I'm like, okay, let me go in a different direction. And then I end up with something still cool, but I needed time to like learn how to do
find
makeup basically.
I'll do makeup like 2 days before and be like, hey, like I'll ask my
Yeah.
girls, like, how does this look? And one will go, oh, it looks good, Mom. And then the other one will be
So
like,
supportive.
no.
Oh, yeah.
My twins are very brutal and blunt and honest, and they'll tell me what's up. So
Well, and you always look great, so
Oh, well, thank
that's
you.
credit to them.
I
I
try.
guess.
they do fix me
That is
sometimes.
so funny. I think a lot of people do have their patterns that they like to follow the day of because you want to like keep things as normal and smooth as possible. You don't want to eat anything weird because like you already have like kind of nervous
Jitters,
stomach
yeah.
about it. So that's why I try not to think about anything or else it just gets weird in the noggin. So just try and keep one foot in front of the other.
Alright. So, how much of the game would you say is physical and how much is mental?
There's so much that you need to remember on the track. I try to kind of just like be in the moment as much as I can. And then we practice the drills a lot. And I feel like that really helps you to have that muscle memory.
Yeah, I was going to answer 100% on both.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Can I say that in high school or is that bad math?
It's
But
perfect, man.
yeah, you're exactly right. It's like hopefully your muscle memory kicks in. But like I was saying earlier, it's always offense and defense basically at the same time. So your brain almost has to be working both ideas simultaneously while controlling where your feet are going and making sure you're not throwing your arms in someone's face or that you're not in the way of your own teammates and listening to your coach. Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I will say what I like most about that is that's the only thing you can think about. So if you're having a weird day or a weird week, when you're at practice or skating, it's like you really don't have time to think about anything else. So you can really, like Tragic Clown said, just be in the moment the whole time. And that's awesome.
So, could you tell me a little bit about the history of the sport?
Ooh, that is a really good question.
It started in Austin, Texas. I know that.
I think
the origin that was like
Yeah.
way back as a race that
Mm-hmm.
evolved into track bank track roller derby.
Mhm.
It was revitalized in early 2000s.
Maybe someone Google it.
And
Yeah, we should have done our homework on this.
So yes, not to, but yeah. And then it was, Austin, right?
That sounds right. It just how far back do you want to go? Because like
That's how it
like
was
roller
in
skate-
Whippet.
Oh yeah,
That's where.
and I did some rabbit hole research on like that. It was like an endurance, like skating
Yeah.
laps, and then that was like in the 20s and 30s, and then
Yeah.
people, once it started turning into more of a like a team sport, that these people were like celebrities and traveling around and like performing, and then from there, I think I'm a little fuzzy on kind of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but the kind of more recent history was that Derby was a kind of more of a like compared to WWE, right? It was
I
like
was going to say that.
yeah,
Like
flashy,
staged.
yeah,
Like they had
staged.
this team is the enemies, these are the villains, and then this team is the heroes, and how will they, who you root for, and then it was very like a lot of stunts and
Mhm.
things like that.
Yeah, and then I would say recently, like it's not 2023, but in the 2000s, I think it really started evolving with Women's Flat Track Derby Association, which is a worldwide organization that people or teams
1930.
apply to, and they have to stay up to date on. And there's rankings, and there's statistics, and there are rules, and it like kind of turned a corner of not just stage or show, but like real athleticism. But then we can still mix in like our makeup and our rituals to still be showy.
Yeah, it was. So I know that in Austin, when it was the flat track came about as a break off from the Austin League, and it was to make roller derby accessible to everybody. A bank track is incredibly expensive to build, and it has to live wherever it's built. And flat track came about so that if you have a space big enough, you can play roller derby, as long as you have your proper equipment.
Yeah.
And I want to say, though, it was somebody originally from the Austin team that broke off and kind of the way our track is taped down, like simulates the banks. It, like the shape of it simulates what a bank track would do without actually. But the beautiful part of flat track is if you have a space big enough, you can play it.
Yeah, we've practiced at armories, like National Guard armories, old high schools, and then the Gene Shepherd Center was kind of a more rubbery floor. So that was kind of difficult, but it had the size requirements.
Right.
So we tried to make it work for a while.
Everyone, we had to do a moment of silence basically for Gene Shepherd Center because it took a lot of people's ankles.
It did.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned how to skate.
Yeah, so how is like skating on different surfaces, like how does it compare?
You wouldn't believe how different floors can be.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's like different wheels that you're supposed to kind of change out, different like hardnesses. If you have like outdoor wheels, those are good for rolling over cracks in the floor or rocks so that you don't trip over them. And then there's more like gummy wheels that are better for those the hard surfaces. The gummy wheels are kind of like more for outdoor. And then if you have a harder floor, then you want a softer wheel. So it's kind of like you gotta kind of play with your skates and see what's comfortable for you.
So, besides being able to skate fast and hard, what other skills do players need in order to be good players and teammates?
Be a teammate. I think that's a huge one.
Team player.
Yeah, where you're, ready to help your teammates out. And we're a nonprofit too. So we run, South Shore Roller Derby is not only a sports league, but we're a nonprofit business that has to pay rent and pay for games and pay for all this stuff. So it takes literally the whole village to be successful. So being willing to work together and do tasks within your committee. It can't just we have people that really specialize in PR so they can make great infographics, or we have good people that can go out and ask for sponsorship money, which, that's not for everyone. So we can really play to everyone's strengths. And as long as people are willing to show off their strengths and be part of that, it's pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah.
What else?
A core. You have to have core muscles.
Oh, it's like a backbone.
No. Like, because like that kind of like outside of mentally what you need, like there is some physical stuff that you create in roller derby. I have a brain thing, so my balance is always off, and skating has actually helped my balance because it built my core. I know you're learning all these things.
We need to do more radio shows.
Yes, we do. But yeah, and like I think outside of that, I think derby is really great for like building your physicality.
Yeah.
You don't realize it until you're like almost falling down. You're like, I didn't fall down this time.
Right. It's like a full body workout.
Yeah, it's a full body workout. So
I agree.
And speaking of your muscles, like if you take a break, like after COVID, for example, when we started skating again, I was like, what is happening? Like, what muscle is that? So there's a lot that it is full body. And like we were saying, a lot of mental, like not only strategy, but a mental toughness of like knowing you're going to go in and probably like struggle. Yeah. Try again. When you fall, you got to get up. And I think to be able to be resilient like that is also a huge strength to the game.
So, how much time per week do you guys spend training?
We have 3 practice days a week.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours each day.
Yeah. Some people,
Some
but
people
to give
go 3
everyone
days.
credit that are like, oh, I go to the gym this day, working on this, which I'm very proud of them. I do not.
Yeah, this is kind of my gym.
Yeah, and like maybe I should, but I think that was part of kind of what drew me in and why I'm like can stick with it is that there's like a structured time to exercise and do that, or else I'd be like, oh, I'll just do it later.
Yeah.
So I know I have to do it.
Right. So, how many other teams are there in the area, and how far is the furthest you've traveled for bouts?
I think the farthest I've gone is like 3 hours.
Yeah. We
Same,
tried-
3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the area because it depends on how far out we go.
Right.
Ileana Derby Dames is probably the closest league. That's kind of like, was that southeast? Like the
Southeast
end of
Illinois and Northwest Indiana.
yeah,
And
or northeast. Sorry.
It's like
Oh,
south.
yeah.
I'm thinking-
There
I'm
are
thinking of southeast
southern.
of Michigan.
Yeah. Well,
I did this.
you're exactly right. Like
Yeah.
within the area, Southwest Michigan has a lot. We traveled to Lansing last year. Kalamazoo has a team. There's Indianapolis, South Bend. We're hanging out with in April. Lafayette, and then more
Fort
in
Wayne.
Fort Wayne. Chicago's got a handful of different types of teams as well, and they're like the only nearby men's league, which
Yeah.
I let people know because they're like, "Wait, how do I get involved?" And I'm like, "Well."
Yeah, there's like some co-ed opportunities. There's different levels. Our team is actually more of a league, so we have a couple teams within. So we have different level skaters. So just kind of depending on who you can find locally that's got the same level or skaters who have been playing for about the same amount of time so that it's fair. We'll try to meet up with them and figure out how to get all of our levels involved.
Yeah, good point.
So, where do you guys play your home games?
I am so glad you asked.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had our first one in March at the Hammond Civic Center. That's always been a really cool venue. Because one, it's just a cool venue. But two, Derby used to be played there back in the day. So I feel like we're going like
Nostalgia.
It's
like
such a
just-
cool
yeah.
arena.
right. It is an
With
arena.
the high up seats.
Yeah. And then let's see, June will be in Crown Point at Bulldog Park. Our first time there was last year, and it was our biggest or like best attended bout to date. That was awesome. A lot of people, it was like their first time coming out to Derby. So that was neat that we were able to go to a new place. And then we'll do September at the Urschel Pavilion in Valparaiso, which will now be like our 3rd or 4th year being there. So it's been neat to be able to travel around, and it, like what Zen was saying, we just need like a flat and big enough space to bring it. And so it's really neat to then be accessible to different areas. Because Hammond might be far for some people, or Valpo is kind of far. So to have opportunities like that, we can really reach a lot of people.
So, which teams are your guys' biggest rivals?
Our own? No. I don't think we really have rivals. I think we have close people that we can play a lot, so that's fun. And it's kind of like I know our derailers team played Ileana last year, so that was cool to be like, it's only, a 30-minute drive for most people. And then it's like, oh, well, next time then we reschedule it. So there's always something coming up that we know we can do. But I wouldn't call it a rivalry, but more of like a fun and easy camaraderie with competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, you have something.
It's really interesting because you'll be playing against these people and you'll be going hard, trying to get in some good hits. And then you'll look at the pictures and everyone's smiling. They're like getting their butts kicked, but they're happy about it. And then we'll see each other after. And sometimes like one of the skaters will be like, oh, you hit me so hard. It was awesome. And it just really feels like that.
I actually was playing against somebody from DuPage, which is now Chicago style.
Oh, yeah.
So we used to play with our original team.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we were out there together, we actually gave each other a hug. And the other girls were like, why are you doing that? And it's like, because we're friends.
Yeah.
But as soon as that whistle blows, we are frenemies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the perfect. It's like, especially around here, all the leagues work so well together that it's like a frenemies on the track, but friends off the track. I don't think they're really like as an outside, because sportsmanship is actually something that we also look at in officiating. If there's bad sportsmanship, you can earn a penalty for that.
Yeah.
I think everybody like all around here, because we're a huge community that's really small.
Right.
So it's like that we're spread out, but there's still not like, so you kind of just are all friends when you're together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had like a not so great moment at Lansing. This girl got this hit on me that I was like, it shook me to my core, and I was so mad about it. And I was like, that wasn't legal. And then we talked afterwards, and I was like, how did you manage that? And now I like keep wanting to try it. And like we were real chummy about it, but I was like, sorry for yelling. But that was like really good, and it made me really mad how good it was.
Yeah. So, how does a game play out, and how do you guys score?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Who else wants to talk about scoring?
I'm
laughing because
guess-
we, like, during some of our, like, tryout scrimmages, the jammers were supposed to count their own points, and I, like, physically cannot.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, just take me out. I can't count the points.
Okay, so I'll do the best that I can.
Yeah, you see it happen.
I see it happen. Okay, so like Ellen was saying, the jammer has to break through the pack. It's called your initial pass. So you have to get through once, and then when you're coming back around to go back through everybody, that's your scoring pass. And a score is you earn a pass on every skater's hips, not their full, it has to be their hips. Your hips have to pass their hips legally. So the jam ref is somebody who's watching the jammers, and they're specifically looking for, did her hips pass their hips? Yes. Okay, they get the point. And you have to actually get outside of the engagement zone to earn your points, which is 20 foot in front of everybody else, or 10 foot in front of everybody else. So, but yeah, so the points are all about hips. I said derby is almost 99% about hips. From how you're supposed to stand to skate, all of your skills, and how we score points, and distance. So, but yeah,
You're exactly right.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like I know things.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I'm glad to have you.
But yeah, it's really kind of just how many opposing skaters did you pass legally? And then the other point, or only other way you can score points very easily, is if opposing blockers are in the penalty box.
Right.
Because as soon as you leave the pack and you're coming around for your next scoring pass, whoever was in the box, you immediately earned the points for those people. So you want to get blockers into the box. You don't want your jammer into the penalty box because then no points are getting scored. But yeah.
There's a lot of strategy involved too. Like if you hit somebody off of the track, then their body doesn't count in that instance. So you kind of want to get them out of the way so that there's less points to be earned for the opposing jammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a ton of strategy with all of that of like who are you keeping away? How are you making your pack like big or small, strung out or closely together? How are you helping your jammer? How are you not helping their jammer? Yeah, there's a lot. We have a scrimmage, interleague scrimmage tonight, so now I'm like trying to think of what I need to do tonight.
Yeah.
What is each of your guys' favorite thing about roller derby?
Everything.
You build friendships. You make friendships. You learn about the sport. You learn from your mistakes. It's just fun. And when you're there, you just don't think about things at home or things with your kids or work. You just leave it all behind, and then you just stay focused and you just play hard, hit hard, and just have a fun time.
Yeah.
That's for me.
It gets me out of the house. It gets me out and about and just doing something for myself that isn't like work or something stressful. So,
agreed.
I'm not allowed to yell at people at work, but I get to yell at people there.
It's a huge bonus.
But no, but there is some truth to that. So, but I really do. I enjoy the community. I use the term vibe. I enjoy the vibe.
Yeah.
Of there's just this energy, and a lot of every now and again, like funky moods happen, but that goes away. I think generally by the end of most practices, even if you come in and you're in a sour place, like you at least don't leave in a sour place.
Yeah.
You leave in somewhat of a good mood.
Yeah.
It helps build your confidence a lot.
Yes.
Exactly. I would say there's a lot of empowerment and confidence building. I think as the league grows and as we get to learn more and more about people that you've known for a long time, but today they told you everything, that learning about people and their backgrounds and where they've come from and where they're going, for me personally, has been so interesting. But I also love the space that we've created of this is a place where we're skating. We are empowered to make decisions on the track or off the track. We can be loud. We can be, too much. We can be whatever we need to be there, which isn't always applicable to your professional lives or your family lives. You can really just be who you need to be in that moment.
It's like your alter ego comes out.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want it to sound like a negative in any way, but it's a place for the misfits. Like
I think so too.
Like I think everybody who gravitates towards derby is in some way a misfit. Like there's just a place you don't fit that you want to fit, and that's where you fit. It's like because we all have just such varying backgrounds, but I just think
Yeah.
I agree.
I never thought I would be an athlete, and now I identify as one.
That's
'Cause you
awesome.
are.
So.
Yeah.
So have any of you guys suffered any derby-related injury?
Oh, yes.
Not a lot of wood to knock on in here, but
Yeah. Oh, my
not
goodness.
yet. Some really interesting bruises. You'll see if you fall on your skate a certain way, you'll get a bruise that is in the shape of a wheel, and then you'll watch it go through the entire rainbow of colors. So thankfully for me, that's the worst that I've gone through so far.
I was in a scrimmage back in November, and I got clotheslined, and I hit my elbow.
Yes, I remember
And
that.
I thought I had broken my elbow. But it just turned out Big Bertha decided to stay for 4 months, and it was a big blood clot.
Yeah.
I had a bursa explode, and I thought I was never going to come back. but I'm back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm back.
And Bertha's gone.
And Bertha is gone, and she better not ever come back.
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it was.
It literally took me out for 4 months. I could not put no pressure on it. Advil was my best friend for 4 months.
Half of your arm was purple.
Yes,
was-
purple. I will show you pictures
It
after
was
this
incredible.
broadcast. It was
Yeah.
completely crazy.
Yeah. I'd also like to knock on wood, too.
That is my only bad injury, guys.
That was a weird one.
It was a very weird one. And I even had an elbow pad on, and I still got destructively hurt.
Yeah. How about you guys?
So I'm not. If I have injuries, it's self-induced
Oh.
generally because I fall.
A lot of them work like that, though.
But I haven't had any like injury like directly relating. I have a labral tear in my hip that I was told is an injury that hockey players get. So I was
Yeah,
like,
they
well, I don't do impact, but I skate, and so it's there forever until it gets bad enough for surgery.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that I really have going on.
Yeah, I think, again, very lucky over here. But I think the most commonly, like, a concussion
Yes.
will happen.
Yeah.
'Cause
Ankle
even-
breaks and concussions are our big ones.
I would say so.
Dragon toast.
She's
Let's
going to
not
call
talk
penalty
about
on this.
ankle breaks. It makes me very nervous.
Yeah.
I know, me too.
But yeah, I think we learn when you first start skating, like, how to fall properly.
Mm-hmm.
But still things happen, and then you end up backwards, and you're like, how did my head slant?
So
Yeah.
my bad derby, not derby injury was because we learned how to fall properly with padding on. When you fall and you're not wearing padding,
True, yes.
you also fall that way.
Yeah.
So
We're taught to kind of take a knee.
So I have permanently scarred knees now because I fall all the time. It's just, and I used to just kind of roll, like,
Oh my
because my body would just like flop and roll, and I jump back up. But now I land on my knees very hard every time, and so they're permanently scarred because of all my boom booms.
Mhm.
So, so that's my derby, not derby
My
related.
scars.
My scars.
Scars from this league.
But that is, I mean, I used to fall differently with all my falling. I'm like a weeble wobble.
Oh my
So,
That's too much.
well, you asked.
That's true, we did.
So, what are some things you guys do during your bouts to stay safe and prevent injuries?
Rely on our refs to call people if they're being naughty.
Yeah.
But not skating on cold muscles and doing proper stretching before and proper stretching after. The after is harder because you just want to be done and not
Go home.
and go home.
Yeah, take your sweaty gear off.
But probably some of the initial injuries, at least that I've seen, and like muscle tears and muscle pulls, are because from skating cold.
Mhm.
And because I have, as an official, I don't always get the chance. At games I get to warm up, but at practices I don't always get the chance to warm up as much as the skaters do. And I've pulled my leg muscles because I will go to fall and I'll fall properly, but my muscles are too tight. So I think, like, to avoid some injuries that are avoidable, and don't drag your toe stop. That's
We were talking about ankles, and she looked at me, she said toe stops, and I was like, don't bring it up right now.
going to.
Other basics for, like, I guess, as athletes, like being hydrated
Yes.
Yes.
is huge.
Eating a good meal before.
Yeah.
So you're not like
starving.
disoriented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About to pass out. And a lot of people, I don't think, know that, like, we have gear that we have to wear.
Mhm.
So we've got our wrist guards, elbow pads, knee pads,
Mouth guard.
mouth guards, and helmets. And our helmets have to be on. They're looking at it this season, make sure they're on properly so you're not falling and knocking your helmet
Yeah.
here, because it doesn't help your noggin if the helmet's not on
Yeah.
right. So there are a lot of precautions safety-wise, which is so funny. Like, I laugh about this, that I'm, like, very safety-oriented so I can go into this full contact sport.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then there's also something where if you have a weird fall or if you hit your head, you have to be off skates for a little bit. You can't just go right back into the game because adrenaline is a big thing. So we don't really know the extent of the injury. We want to make sure that you take a step back, cool off a little bit, and then see how you're feeling after a few minutes.
Right.
And then before we can get you back on skates.
Mm-hmm.
So, going back to derby names, how and why did players start adopting them? Do you think of it as a different persona?
Definitely as a
Yes.
different persona. I don't know when they started coming into play.
Yeah, probably during that like staged.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know.
good point. Good point. Yeah, it gives you, it's your alter ego. It's fun. When you use like derby names at practice or in real life, then it's just like kind of I don't know, you kind of get to just associate with that fun part instead of anything else.
We actually had a skater post a meme the other day about like, who are you talking to when you say your like legal name
Oh, yeah.
instead
Yeah.
of your skater name? Like, that's
Yeah, we're like, who is that?
I know
Because we
sometimes
do
people
have-
will say, do you want me to call you by your real name or your derby name?
Yeah.
And I always say, I'll answer to either one.
yeah.
Just look at me when you're talking to me.
I will only answer to my full legal name on the
My
track.
government
No.
name.
Yeah, my government name.
And
My real name is, you can say Tria or Treya. So I like to just be called Tragic because I feel like it confuses people. But we do have like a couple Amandas on the team, a couple
That's true.
Rachels or Rays on the team. So
Breeze.
it kind of helps. Yeah, Breeze too.
Heather.
Regular Bree.
Oh,
Heather's too.
Heather.
So it kind of helps to like give everybody their own so that
Mhm.
you don't have
Right.
a couple different people looking at you when you call their name.
That's true.
So, how many teammates do you guys have?
Ooh, like 60.
Last I counted
Yeah.
was almost 70, but now with our new set of skaters, it has to be almost 80 girls,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say.
Yeah, glad you asked. So, if you remember, COVID happened.
Well.
You guys remember the thing? So before that, we kind of had two teams competing under South Shore Roller Derby, but one of the teams was mostly repeats from so there was a lot of overlap. We'd have practices where like 8 people would show up and be like, all right, I guess 8 people is a lot. A full roster is 15. And then COVID happened and we were all super sad for a long time. We came back. We're like, great, this is happening. We had a call out in February of 22.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, only last year. And 26 people showed up for call out. 20 showed up to start learning to skate. And then 16 stayed and passed and are on the team. So that was incredible. Usually it's like 3 people go through our new skater program. So that was great. And then in September last year, not as huge of numbers, but still incredible. I think we graduated like 12,
I was gonna say it was
10 or 12.
10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was enough to then bring in a third team that will be able to compete. And now, like Penny was saying, we have a new skater talk group. They just started learning in, it was the beginning of March. And if they all stay, I think we've got 10. So by the end of the year, we're going to have 4 competitive teams, which
Yeah.
is incredible
Amazing.
and amazing. And then our league's also composed of non-skating officials, and other volunteers.
Mhm.
Some people
Also-
that just don't want to leave us.
Yeah. Also, during COVID, there was a big boom in outdoor activities, and skating became a big thing. So
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
had a lot of people join who already had the gear, already knew how to
That's
skate. So I think that was a big thing. All over TikTok, there were videos of how to learn how to skate, how to do different tricks. So there were a lot of people who already had the equipment and the confidence in themselves to do something more with their athleticism.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
So,
Agreed.
will you guys have?
Agreed.
Will you guys be having tryouts for new teammates soon? If so, do you have any more information about that, like the time or what prospects should be going into a tryout?
I love that question. And I'm going to give like kind of a weird, I guess, complicated answer. We have been trying to do the top program. So we'll do like a call out and then the new skater program. Now, shout out to our new skater program is that we have gear that you can borrow and we start from the basics. Like we were saying, you learn how to fall. You learn how to stop. Like, you don't have to have any experience because you'll learn everything you need to know. And then you'll get into hitting and gameplay, etc. Anyone can reach out to us anytime if they want to come check it out. And we probably will do a call out again in September, depending on what is going on. Because we're almost getting so big that we have to find additional practice spaces and additional coaches before we can keep expanding. I think also, like, you're asking, what should you do to get ready? The only thing you need to do is say, I'm ready to give something new a try. And then here you are. You get to be on a radio show.
And then I'm going to put in a plug.
Do it.
That
Yes.
all year long, at any point, you can come and non-skate official. You could be a non-skating official with us or a skating official with us. We will train you to skate. And so you get to blow a whistle and yell at people and not get hit. So if you really want to, if you want to skate, but you're not necessarily want the full contact portion of the skating, there's always that. And so we take officials year round. Please come officiate.
I'm going to throw an echo on that one.
Please.
So, for referees, what types of things are you looking for which could penalize players on the field?
Okay, so there's like
for those who aren't here, she has just gotten out her rule book.
I mean, I can pull it up. No.
Like a huge binder.
So a lot of the penalties we look for are kind of, it sounds almost like, are dependent on gameplay and what's currently happening in any given game. Contact penalties are number one, because that's what is going to cause injury. Outside of contact penalties, we have non-contact penalties, like whether or not the pack is where it's supposed to be. That means if all the skaters are enough of the opposing team and regular team are together, they make a pack. We have to make sure that that stays together, because if not, everybody's doing everything illegal. So pack definition is one of those where you can't, if there's not a pack of skaters, you cannot make contact. So we're looking for that, because that is an illegal hit. You're hitting somebody when you shouldn't be hitting them. We're looking on the outsides and the insides on, if you got hit out, did you come back on the track the right way? Did you cut everybody? We are looking for illegal procedures. Did you do something you shouldn't have done? Did you serve your penalty? So we're kind of like looking for a lot of everything.
Did you mouth off to the ref?
Did you mouth off to the ref?
Insubordination.
Insubordination. That is my favorite penalty to give.
And everyone's least favorite to get.
And everybody's least favorite to get. So, myself, generally, derby is very loud. There's a lot of loudness on the track. There's a lot of loudness outside the track with everybody around. So most officials give a nice leeway for when you call a penalty. So calling a penalty on a skater, it's the color of their jersey, their number, and whatever the penalty was that they committed. So you do that. And sometimes everything is happening so fast that the skater doesn't hear. I'm a 3 strikes, you're out. If I call your name, number, or your color, number, and penalty 3 times and you don't hear me, you're going to earn an insubordination penalty as well. So that's one of the things. But yeah, as far as penalties go, so many. I don't know how many, like, the actual count is of penalties, but
I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a lot.
It does. But probably the ones that have the greatest impact and can, like, hurt players the most are the contact penalties. Right. So you're looking, if somebody, let's call it back. I'm going to do the hand gestures. Sorry, radio folks, you can't see them. So a back block, which is you just run into somebody's back and you knock them down. There's low blocks, so that's this one, and that's if you kick somebody or trip somebody. And then you also have high block, and then blocking with the head, which are using your head to hit somebody or hitting somebody in the head. Yeah. Funny enough, some skaters lead with their head, so it's very dangerous. That's why we try to stop it.
Yeah.
But and then you have forearm, which is anything from the like elbow down essentially, and then so those are most of the contact.
You can also foul out of a game if you get too
Yes.
many, or there's a couple that if your team captain can get a penalty. Can you explain those?
So the team captain can pull a penalty. So if you don't field a jammer and you start a game without a jammer being on the field, that would be a penalty to the captain for the next game, our next jam. I don't know all of them.
It's kind of like when they don't really know who else to blame.
Yes.
The team captain
Well,
kind of has
and
to
so
Someone has to
take
this.
responsibility.
Yeah, if you have two pivots out at the same time, that would be one. That would be, because it's an illegal procedure, you've fielded too many pivots. That's another one. But yeah, it's definitely that skater's not on the track anymore. This penalty has to be assigned. Either we give it to that skater as a after the fact, or it's going to be earned on the captain.
So, what are some of you guys' favorite parts of roller derby?
I love just skating around. Like, I love when we do endurance. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it. I love just like
I don't like
clearing
you
my
anymore.
mind.
Endurance is
No, we have an interleague fight.
Yeah.
the endurance is the worst.
But endurance is so important for safety.
No,
You're
endurance
the
is
safety
good. It's
queen.
just when you're not
Yeah,
feeling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, endurance is fun. I like when you perfectly execute something, which almost never happens. So when
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, this was like a textbook play.
Mhm.
It's like so exciting.
And on the official side of that, when you and another official blow your whistle at the exact same time and call the exact same penalty. And it does happen.
But
But it's just like,
yeah.
but it was like, we saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's definitely then a penalty.
It for real is a
Yeah,
penalty.
double.
Very
Yeah.
validating.
Well,
Right.
and so like part of officiating, because I will keep talking about it, is officials, you don't call it unless you're sure. So
Yeah.
that is
Mhm.
something I always want to really reinforce with skaters is if we're not sure, we won't call it. Like, because you don't want to falsely give a penalty.
Right.
You might confer with officials at the end. Did you see that? Well, no, because I have a different angle.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, blowing your whistle at the exact same time and calling the exact same penalty, chef's kiss. It's the best.
Nothing beats it. That's so funny.
Besides a great workout, what are some other ways roller derby has benefited you?
It's really good for some people's mental health.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know, they just, it's like what we said before, when you go to your practice, you just think about practice and not think of anything else, because your problems are still going to be there when you go home, but when you're at practice, you just think about practice
Mm-hmm.
and being with your friends.
I feel like my style has changed a little bit to be more self-expressive.
Mm.
I didn't really wear as much like makeup or I guess just like more confidence in my body, more confidence in myself, kind of adopting the positive attitudes of the people around me, I think has been really important as well. How about you guys?
For me,
Sorry.
except for that, confidence too, or it's like a resilience thing of like when you know you're having a weird day or if something seems hard and you're like, oh well, I've like gone through a pack of people that wanted me basically dead, so I can like get through
It's like the pack
anything.
of wolves, you know,
Yeah,
just
it's like
get right through 'em.
nothing's too hard, and I can get through it.
I think community involvement as well, because our team is technically a charity in a way. So just kind of letting you find out about the different programs and the different ways that you can give back to your community in ways that like you wouldn't have really come across that in your day-to-day life. I think the way that we all band together to accomplish a goal is really neat. Like our last charity or our last bout, we do some of our proceeds from the ticket sales to our charity of choice for the month or for the bout. And then we also had a couple different points of contact for other, we had a clothing drive, a food drive going on at the same time. So we're kind of pulling resources from our different connections to accomplish a couple different things and help out in a couple different ways, which I think is really amazing.
Yeah. I think it's a beautiful support system.
Definitely.
I think is for the way I look at it. It's there's support when you're there, but there's still, you have this pool of 60 people who truly have your best interests in heart outside of there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's nice to do if you're going through something rough, there are so many people that somebody's probably been through it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this group of friends to pull from. And it's a privilege that I don't think a lot of people have.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
It's like, oh, we got a guy for that. What do you need?
Yeah.
Anything you need, we got somebody for that.
Yeah. So I think that like the support system that you don't realize is there but is there.
Mm-hmm.
And that you probably don't realize it's there because you don't have to think about it. Because
Right.
it just exists.
Mhm.
Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, that is a good point.
So is there anything else you guys would like to say before we close up?
We are very present on social media. You can follow us at South Shore Roller Derby on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Our TikTok, we're kind of building it up and we've got some fun stuff on there, so I'm really excited. We're also, like we said, looking for a place to call home because of our team growing. So we have a couple things that we are looking for as far as venue size. Typically a 108 by 75 space to host practices, bouts, and other events. The minimum floor spacing that we can have is 98 by 65. For floor composition, we're typically looking for polished concrete, hardwood, or a sport court. Those are ideal for the wheels that we have and for our skating style. And then for location, typically within 25 miles of Portage, Indiana. That's ease of access from major highways, preferred but not necessarily required. Our practice spaces are in Portage for now, so that's kind of what we've found that works for most of our skaters and the areas that they're coming from. And then our bouts coming up June 24th, Bulldog Park, Crown Point, and then September 16th at the William Urschel Pavilion in Valparaiso, Indiana.
Nice. Oh, there's one more thing I was going to ask. So do you guys do indoor or outdoor or a mix of both?
Mix of both. Weather permitting, we would love to do outdoor. Those are really fun. I think that those are very, you said in June, that one was one of our biggest.
Those are raging.
People just really like having something fun to do outside. And then indoor is always great too. Like the Hammond Civic Center, that one's a really fun one. So I think both. We typically practice indoor, but we love just getting outside into the fresh air and having that cool summer thing to do. So
Mm-hmm. So that's going to wrap things up for this week's edition of the Porter County Perspective. This has been Max Good of WDSO, and my guests this week have been members of the South Shore Roller Derby team. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. It was great to meet you all.
thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Thank you. Thanks, listeners.
And to check out this interview again, it will be on WDSO's YouTube page.
Yay.